Jobs, jobs, jobs. That's one of the keys to successful reentry programs. And in prison right now, people are earning everything from GEDs to master's degrees and high demand trade certificates. But when they come home and apply for jobs, all too often, those accomplishments become blah, blah, blah. Even though 1 in 3 Americans have arrests that show up on background checks that 90% of employers use, and upwards of over 500,000 people are going to be released back into our communities. And the truth is, if they don't find a job within the first year, they're 80% likely to reoffend. Incarcerated students can earn degrees in everything from psychology to IT. They can become certified welders, electricians, carpenters, coders, even chefs. The talent exists, the training exists, the education exists. But the question is, when they come home, will the opportunity exist? Because again, contrary to popular beliefs, prisons aren't just bars and razor wire. Most people think prison is just about punishment, and they're shocked to learn that many prisons offer college courses, trade schools, apprenticeships, and career training. People are learning to, like I said, weld, build, code. They're earning degrees while they're incarcerated, which actually helps offset the prison so that they're able to keep the prisons running smoothly. But rehabilitation isn't about what happens inside the prison. It's measured by what happens upon release. Now, I too was actually shocked to find out what was going on inside the prisons. When I went from being a YMCA kindergarten teacher to being a convicted murderer overnight. I was at a UNR grad party and I shot a gun in the air and the bullet ricocheted off a sign and it ended up killing my uncle. Now, I had never really known incarcerated women before I was incarcerated myself. But while I was in there, I listened to their stories. And most of them were very similar. Either drugs or men got them to do things that were normally out of their character. They all had lives before incarceration, and they would all have lives that would never be the same after incarceration. And for many of them, it was the first time that they had graduated from anything. And they are so hopeful, but too often when they apply for a job, their record speaks louder than their qualifications do. Now, these women, they're doing exactly what society tells them to do. They're learning a skill. They're working on themselves. They're taking parenting classes. They're going through counseling. They're dealing with childhood trauma that has plagued their families for generations. And with smaller class sizes when you're incarcerated, you have the opportunity to soak up that information so much more. You can't use Chat GPT. There's nobody there to help you. There's no distractions or children. So you're able to get all the information you need. And several states have laws that are similar to the good moral character clause, which prevents people with felony convictions from getting approved for more than 90% of occupational licenses that are granted by states. Even though studies show that those states that have less restrictions also have less recidivism rates. Now, some people see carpentry, but I see transformation. These programs teach more than a trade. They teach accountability, responsibility, and routine. And for many, it's the first time that they've experienced success, structure, and a sense of purpose. They don't just leave prison with skills. They leave with options. And options are one of the greatest crime prevention tools there are. Behind these walls, people aren't just serving time. They're building skills. They're learning construction, blueprint reading, safety standards, and teamwork and problem solving. Because every wall that they build represents confidence, discipline, and a future that they never thought possible. So the question isn't whether they can do the work. The question is whether we will let them do the work. Because talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. And from welding to woodworking, incarcerated people are mastering skilled trades. They're earning certifications that employers across America say they desperately need. And at a time when industries face labor shortages, qualified workers are being overlooked. Imagine solving two problems at once: filling jobs and creating second chances. Because rehabilitation works best when opportunity meets the preparation. Some incarcerated people prepare for a different path: entrepreneurship. They learn business planning, marketing, budgeting, leadership, and how to even launch a company. They're taught to create opportunities, not just go look for them. Because when employers say no, entrepreneurship gives them a chance to say yes to themselves. Sometimes the best job placement program is teaching someone how to become the boss. The headlines, they celebrate prison trade programs. We see stories about the welding certificates, construction training, woodworking, and the college degrees. We applaud rehabilitation when it's in the evening news, but here's the contradiction. The same people we cheer for when they're learning are often the ones who can't even get a job interview when they come home. We praise the training period. We fund the programs. We celebrate the graduation. Yet all too often we refuse to hire the graduate. But if we truly believe people could change, our actions should match our applause. Because rehabilitation isn't proven in the classroom. It's proven when someone gets a chance to do what they have learned to do. This isn't a prison vocational training of decades ago. Today, incarcerated students use advanced welding simulators, construction technology, visual training platforms, and industry-grade equipment. They're learning on many of the same tools that are used in colleges, workforce training centers. And if we're investing in world-class training, then we should be creating world-class opportunities for them when they return home. Because technology can prepare people for the workforce, but only employers can invite them in. Now, many people do ask, what can I do? You don't have to hire someone. You don't have to start a nonprofit. You don't even have to change a law. You can write a letter. I started a prison pen pal program. I told my story. I wrote a book. Every one of us has something that we can offer. Whether it be a skill, a connection, an encouragement, a second chance, or simply hope. And if you can hire somebody, hire them. There's incentives for you to hire them. There's tax credits. There's bonding opportunities. Go through a staffing agency like See Us Now Staffing, where many are called or few are chosen. And you can actually try them before you buy them, is what we like to say. Because the movement for change doesn't belong to a few extraordinary people. It belongs to ordinary people willing to do one extraordinary thing: care. Because none of us can do everything, but every one of us can do something.